Hi, folks. Welcome to video lecture number 3. Getting close to spring break, aren't we? I know it's exciting for me. I hope it's exciting for you too. Okay, today's lecture, we're going to talk about a number of things. We're going to talk about who talks to whom. And I'm pretty sure that's correct grammar, but if you'd like to correct me on it, you can. So, anytime in the entertainment industry that you're talking about putting talent of some sort with whoever is going to hire that talent, there's always people in between. It's almost never done via venue direct to talent. And I'm talking about in the big world. I'm not talking about Hey Joe's here in Cleveland. I'm talking about out in the real world. The same thing is true, say, if you were talking about an author who writes a book. He's not going to talk directly to the publisher generally. An actor is not going to talk directly to the producer. There's always going to be people in between who do the negotiating for them. And in the music world, it looks a lot like this. And we're going to start today with the venue. So the venue would be a place where a performer will perform. It may be something like BPAC here in Cleveland. It may be something like the Superdome in New Orleans or Madison Square Gardens in New York. It could be just about anywhere. It may also be Hey Joe's, but we're really talking about on a larger scale here today because ultimately that's where we would like to be. So let's consider that the venue is something large. So, and then on the one hand, we have the venue. On the other hand, we have the artist who wants to perform in that venue. Now, we know that the artist does not talk directly to the venue, or it is rare that somebody at a venue could pick up a phone and call an artist and say, I want you to come play. So there's a number of people that are in between. The artist is going to have management, who I have listed here as artist manager, and he's also going to have an agent. The agent is the middleman. The agent is the guy who works both ways. He talks to both the venue people and the artist people. Although the agent doesn't frequently talk to the artist himself, he will talk to the artist manager. And then the other person who may be in this mix is a promoter. A venue may book people themselves, or they may not. A venue may just be rented so somebody else can put on a show. For example, if I wanted to hire Paul McCartney to come play at BPAC, and I rented BPAC out, and I was the one who was putting up the money for the show, then I would be the promoter. If possibly BPAC were the one that were putting up the money, and I was just doing all the negotiating, then I would be a talent buyer, but not a promoter. They're not necessarily the same thing, and sometimes you can have a promoter and a talent buyer on the same show. So what happens? Let's assume for right now that it starts with the venue, and the venue could well be the promoter too. But whatever is going to happen, the venue is going to first talk to a promoter or to a talent buyer, or the other way around. The promoter will say, hey, I want to rent your venue on such and such a day. Is it available? I would like to have Paul McCartney come perform at BPAC. And if the venue is available, then at that point, the promoter or the talent buyer will call the artist's agent. And there are ways to find out who artist agents are via Polestar Pro and Celebrity Access and some other ways. And sometimes you can just look it up on the internet and find out. People in the industry have tools to find all of this stuff out, and I will show you those tools myself very soon. I do have those tools. So then the agent is going to say, okay, well, let me just find out if that artist is available on that day. And what he's going to do is he's going to call or email the artist's manager. The manager will take a look and say, okay, yeah, that looks like a good possibility. What you got, and is there an offer? And they'll talk about money and see what's up. And then if the money is where the manager would like it, and the money is where the agent would like it, then the artist will go or the artist manager will go to the artist and say, hey, we have this gig on such and such a date. Do you have any problems with playing in Cleveland, Mississippi? And the artist is likely to say, well, no. So he will get back with the manager gets back to the agent gets back to the promoter or the talent buyer, who will in turn get back to the venue. And it's all negotiating between all of these different people to find out what the final price is going to be, what the date is going to be, what time it's going to be, what the production's going to be. There's all sorts of different things that go into this negotiation. And I will show you some negotiations. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to save that for another day, because there's a lot of stuff that goes into doing negotiating for these kinds of events. If you're not doing a musical event, let's say that just for the heck of it, you're doing an actor. Let's say that you are handling an actor. Well, what happens then? Instead of a venue, of course, we have a producer or director on a film or a TV show, and we have the artist, which in this case is an actor. An artist or an actor may have a manager. It's not real likely that they do, but they definitely have an agent who's going to do the negotiating for them. The agent will probably not negotiate directly unless it's the major character. He may or may not directly negotiate with the director or producer, but with the casting director instead. Now, if it's a major character, if whoever's producing this show says, I'm not doing this show without Tom Cruise, then that negotiation will go straight from the producer to the artist agent to the artist. So there won't be any casting directors or anybody else in between. But if it's just somebody else who's going to be in it, then that negotiation would include a casting director. And then, of course, it's the same path that we used otherwise. It would go back and forth and back and forth in this order between these people. It would never go from the artist to the agent or the artist to the casting director. It would always go between these people. But most often, this person won't be in there for the simple reason that that's a whole lot of extra money that's not really worth spending. And remember what these folks are going to get paid. The artist agent is going to get 10 to 20% of the gig, which means that if the artist or the actor or whoever it is gets $1 million, then there's a really good chance that the agent is going to get somewhere between 10 and 20% of that, which could be $100,000 of it. That's a pretty good little chunk of change. And then if there is in fact a manager, then the manager would get probably the going rate is 15% of the artist gross income. So whatever he made that month or that year, whatever it happened to be, the manager would make 15% of it. And you probably don't really want to give that away. So if you're an artist in the music business, you need that. You almost have to have a manager, because the managers are the ones that handle all of your publicity and handle all the logistics of moving from point A to point B. They have a big, heavy job that's involved in it. Whereas if you're just an actor who's going to go to work, you don't really need all of that. You're just going to get up in the morning, go to set, do your day of shooting, and go home at night. So you don't really need a manager to do all of that for you. Musicians need managers generally a lot worse than actors do. Also consider that other areas that may also need management and agents, and as I've mentioned before, people that write books would need them, people that write plays would need them, athletes need them. There are a number of different areas that need agents and managers, and that have pretty much anybody in the entertainment business has an agent, at least a minimum an agent, frequently and a manager as well.